Good morning, everybody. Sorry for the delay. Welcome to our virtual tabling. And so today we're going to talk about getting motivated. So when we're coming up with our health goals, setting up our goals is, obviously very important, but then getting motivated to follow through with our goals and to get, start building progress towards our goals is the other half of the battle. So today we're going to talk about different ways that you can get motivated. So let's get started. And so the big thing that you want to really practice when getting motivated is practicing self-care. And so a lot of this is going to relate to, getting regular exercise, eating a healthy diet, getting enough good quality sleep, not just enough sleep, but making sure that it's good quality sleep, and then also making time for yourself to relax. And I started with this just because, it's what if our goals are getting regular exercise or eating a healthy diet? So if those are our goals, how exactly do we get motivated to, get regular exercise or eat a healthy diet? And so that's what I mainly wanted to focus on today. And so the first thing is to evaluate our goals themselves. And so this would include creating SMART goals. And so SMART is an acronym standing for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So specific, what exactly do we want to achieve? Measurable, meaning so how will we know when we achieve it? Achievable, so how do, is this a goal that, we can accomplish? Relevant, so is it relevant to, to our health goals? And then time bound, is there a time frame that, we want to complete this goal? So here are some, different examples of some goals. So some bad goals, that maybe, that we kind of, might start out thinking of is I will eat more vegetables. And, this isn't necessarily a good goal just because it's, it's very vague. There's no real time, it's not specific. We want to be, we need a little more direction. Saying I will lose 10 pounds, again, it's not very specific. How exactly are we going to lose 10 pounds? Again, we need it to be a little more specific. And then I will sign up and compete in an Ironman triathlon. If you're unfamiliar with Ironman triathlons, they're very intense. And so this is an example of, again, it's not necessarily time bound, but it's also, not very achievable. I mean, it takes a lot of work to get up to, competing in an Ironman triathlon. So, it's not necessarily realistic. So then, here's some examples of SMART goals. So over the next week, I will take a 20-minute walk at least 2 times during the week. So it's, it's specific, it's achievable, it's definitely doable, it's time bound. And then similarly, over the next month, I will try 1 new vegetable each week for 1 meal. Again, it takes into account of, all of those aspects of a good goal. And so, I bring this up because, one of the main problems that we have is, the goal itself, in terms of getting motivated. And so, we need to make sure that we're making SMART goals and that we're, regularly evaluating these goals. So maybe, if you don't accomplish your goal, then it's time to revisit it. Maybe it's not specific enough. Maybe the time frame is too short or too long. So we always need to, make sure that we're picking, good goals, SMART goals, and then reevaluating those goals if they don't meet up to, if they're not, if we're not able to achieve them, because maybe that's why we're not motivated to do them, because they're not very good goals in and of themselves. And then another tip for you is to create a support network. So having family or friends join in with you with whatever they're comfortable with. So if your goal is to, try a new vegetable each week, maybe, your family will help you out with that goal. Maybe they'll do that goal along with you. If your family or friends aren't necessarily comfortable with, partaking in, or helping you with your, health goals, joining a class or a group, so maybe you can find a cooking class through like the rec center, or there's a lot, especially, in the day and age that we live in, there's a lot of, online, communities. So there's, different Facebook groups, there's different, Reddit groups, things like that. And in these kinds of, and in these classes or groups, you're able to meet people with similar goals, and you can hold each other accountable. So, they're a good resource to, they're, good resources to turn to in case, maybe you're stuck, or maybe, you just don't know where you want to go with your goals. Meeting people with similar goals and meeting, and you can hold each other accountable to those goals is good, because, it'll get you more motivated to carry on with your goals. Another tip you can try is using small rewards. And this gives us something to look forward to, and it, breaks up the process, and gives us a nice little break. So, kind of what I mean by this is maybe, after your walk, maybe you'll have a tiny piece of chocolate, or if you eat, if you manage to get in a new vegetable, for a meal that week, maybe you'll have, a favorite meal for, the next day or something like that. It doesn't have to be anything very extravagant. It can just be, a small little reward that, as we're starting out, this pairs up something that, we don't necessarily like to do, or it's very new to us. And it gives us, something to look forward to. And, it's just a nice little reward to kind of help us motivated to get us through, the first time. And then it helps, allows us to, carry on with that goal, because we'll start to look forward to that. And another thing I found out recently is the 10-minute rule. So a lot of the time, just starting the task is, the hardest part. Just taking, that first step to, trying something new. So what I would invite you to do is to try out a new task for at least 10 minutes. And if after that 10 minutes you still don't want to do it, it's very, not literally painful, but you just can't do it, allow yourself to quit. Because again, a lot of the times it's just taking the time to actually start doing that task is, the very daunting thing. And so if you start something, just try it out for 10 minutes. You might be pleasantly surprised that, after 10 minutes, you don't mind continuing on with that task. So it's just something to try out if you're interested. And then another big one is practicing self-compassion. So we tend to be harder on ourselves than we are with others. But it's important to remember that any progress that we make is progress towards our goals, and that we shouldn't discount that. And then, we have to realize that when we're getting motivated to do something, this is something new. We're naturally going to make a lot of mistakes at first, and because it's a new behavior, it's going to be difficult to include it into our daily lives regularly. And so it's just recognizing that there's going to be a lot of hiccups. We're going to make a lot of mistakes, but not to take it personally. It's we always have to remember that, again, this is a very new thing for us, and that with time, if we keep at it, it's going to be very, rewarding for us, and it's going to be, something that we can carry on in our lives. And then one thing I also do want to mention is seeking appropriate help if needed. And I only mention this because a lack of motivation might not necessarily be from something, new, that's new for us. It might, it could stem from a mental illness such as depression or anxiety. And, these previous things might, if we're experiencing depression or anxiety, the previous tips might not, they might not help. So it's important that if you think that your lack of motivation does stem from something such as depression or anxiety, that you should seek out the proper help. So seeking out like a mental health professional, like a counselor or a therapist or something like that, so they can help you work out through what's causing what's causing those symptoms of depression or anxiety, and then resolving those issues might um, will bring back that motivation. And so that is all that I have for you today. As always, let us know if you have any questions. Of course, you can comment below, or you can email us at healthpromotion@glick.net. And so I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, and I will see you again next week.